Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. So today I'm going to talk about the denim and lace, the two designs that I released last month and very recently. I wanted to show you some of the ways that the lace can be used, and some of the ways that I use the pink dress that I showed you in pictures. I want to show you how the process was to attach that. I had to kind of, every project, even though you have directions and you know the basics, even when you know the basics of stabilization and all that, it's you're almost making it up as you go, because each project can be unique. And so I ran out and got this knit dress. I was looking for a dress of some kind to put the lace on the hem, and all I found was a knit dress that I thought would be really pretty for that. And well, it was a knit dress, so I'm thinking, how's this lace going to hang from this knit? And the knit's really thin, and I'll show you in a minute. So I'll explain to you how. You've seen some of the pictures, but I'll explain in more detail.
Hi Jan and Kim from Florida.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. So I'll explain in more detail how I determined I should stabilize that for attaching the lace, and how I attached it. So I'm going to tell you the first thing that I did when I did the Denim and Lace 2, which this was Denim and Lace 1 from last month. I think it was August. No, not last month. It was in August, I think. Wow, I can't believe we're in October. Can you believe that? So this is the first Denim and Lace, and this is what I used on the hem of my other jeans. You just attach it to your pants like this, and there's one leg. And I'll show you that too in more detail. When I did the video on that lace, we were in the car traveling, and I just thought it would be fun to do it while we're in the car. We were expecting to be pretty busy babysitting while we were visiting, so I was trying to tackle some things before we got to our destination. But I'll show you that in more detail now that we have a table and I have two free hands. I was holding the phone with one hand and the lace with the other, and anyway, you'll see that video, and hopefully you learned a little bit of something from that. But this is much better, a much better setup right here. And then this is Denim and Denim and Lace 2, sorry. And this one is a little bit bigger because now you're sewing two pieces to attach to your pants, and I'll show you that in a minute also. Pants, the hem of your dress. I originally did this so I could put it on sleeves, but I didn't have a shirt that I thought would work, and I just didn't have time. I actually went out to shop for some kind of shirt, and then I couldn't find one, so I bought a dress and did the dress. But this definitely would work on sleeves. That was my original intent. All right, so what you do with the Denim and Lace 2 is you stitch out one piece, then you flip it and stitch it out again so that you have two mirrored pieces. So I've used all of the ones I stitched on my projects, but I'll show you here. We'll pretend that these are not stitched to anything. So you end up with two pieces like this. Let me move these pants out of the way.
Hi Ann in Georgia.
Hi, thank you for joining us. If you have questions, please don't hesitate. Gary will try and read them out to me. And I apologize in advance. Sometimes we get done with the video and then I see people that came in and I think, oh no, I didn't see her question, or I didn't, I feel bad. So I apologize in advance. The feed goes by kind of fast sometimes, and it's kind of easy to miss comments, etc. So you have two pieces of lace and you put them together like this on your sleeve or your pants or whatever. So what you do is, like I was saying, you mirror the pieces. You flip it when you stitch the second piece. That way you have mirrored pieces that you can then use on your project. And this can be a sleeve, it can be a pant leg, whatever. Your imagination is the limit. And it can be a table runner like this. So on the pants, what I did was I put each of these pieces on the seam, just like right here. You just imagine this is a pant leg and it's closed up. But I did split the leg. I just took scissors and split the leg a little bit short of the top of the lace to about right there. That way, when I place the lace down on the leg and got ready to stitch it, I could slide my hand inside like this instead of battling a tube, you know, closed up leg, trying to stitch this down. And I did stitch these down by hand. You can do it by machine. I just didn't. I know that hand sewing is a dirty term, a dirty handwork might be a dirty word in our machine embroidery community. But you know what? I don't mind doing it once in a while for something like this. It's kind of therapeutic. And it doesn't take long. You just take your needle and thread and you work around this little piece right here to begin with to make sure this doesn't pop up later as you wear it. It's just my own thing. It can pop up, it's not going to fall apart, but I just want it to stay nice and secure to my garment. And then, but when you place the lace, you want to place it so that little curve right here, that little notch, is right at the edge right here, so that when you take the stitches at the very beginning, you're actually taking stitches around the hem to secure that very edge of the hem, and that way there won't be a raw edge that's free to unravel, and that it's kind of flapping loose. So that's just the way that I designed it, so that you can secure it right to the very edge of the hem, right there. And then you just start stitching around the little corner to hold the corner down. And then after that, you just follow the angle of the stitches in your satin stitch so that the stitches will blend. So you come up on the inside, take a little stitch forward if you want, and then I think I back stitched a little bit, and then when I came up on the inside, went over the satin stitch and came up again in the front. Forward a little bit. You can make up any stitch pattern you want. On some of the others I just went around the satin stitch, and once in a while I went forward. You can go as, I did maybe 1/4 inch apart, maybe not quite a 1/4 inch. As long as it holds it down and you're not going to have little flaps of lace coming up off your fabric, you're good.
We welcome Teresa from Ontario,
Ooh,
and
Ontario.
Jan from Atlanta, Texas, and Kathy Yost from North Carolina.
Hi ladies, welcome. This is actually 100% linen from, oh my goodness, fabrics slash fabric, oh my goodness. Somebody can help us. You know I've posted it before. It's a linen fabric store, fabricstore.com. Except there's a hyphen between the fabric and the store. I think that's how it goes. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that. Anyway, if you put in a code of, they're always having specials on their linen. They have different weights of linen. They have this heavier. I had bought this because I wanted to see how heavy it was and how much it would shrink to do napkins. And it was a little bit heavier than I really needed for napkins, so I saved it for table runner, and so that's when I used it for this. But I've had several people ask me where I got the linen, or what kind of linen it is. It's 100% linen. This fabric store, store.com, I think it is. They have really good prices, and when they put them on specials, they're $7 something to $8 something a yard for 57-inch linen, wide linen. That's a really excellent price. And because of you, I've contacted them, and because you're my customers and I'm sending you there, They said you can use, I don't get a kickback, but I did ask them if you might be able to get some kind of a discount. They said if you use the code I love linen, all lowercase, you get another 7% off, which is pretty nice. That linen is really heavy, and so the shipping gets expensive. But and I figured it out. It's about, at the rate I've been ordering, it's or that I have ordered in the past, it comes out to about $1 a yard for shipping, depending on the weight of the linen that you purchase. But oh, my foot's itching. Sorry, if you're wondering what is she doing. I'm trying to scratch my foot. Okay, it's figure on about $1 per yard. But if you use the I love linen code, it'll take off a little bit more, and it helps to cover the shipping. So they have awesome prices because linen like this is at least, I don't know, $15 a yard elsewhere. So anyway, that's where I get my linen. And I can't remember the name, I think this is 8 ounce, or is it, no, it's probably the 7.1 ounce linen. If you really need to know, I'll let you know. I'll put that in the thread as a comment as to what this is. I have my linen marked, but I didn't have this one marked. It's marked somewhere, but I think I folded it up in my yardage. The rest of the linen that I have for napkins, and I want to show you because I've spent a lot of time with pre-shrinking and measuring and cutting and figuring it all out so that you don't have to guess. I'm going to be doing a video on cutting the linen and how to figure and how much it's going to shrink. If you buy these particular, I'll tell you the other type of linen that I used. Exactly, and I'll tell you exactly how it shrunk and what to expect and all that. So,
welcome Cheryl and Brenda from Missouri, and Kathy.
Hi, ladies. So, with the placement, that's all you do is you place it so that the little notched area is right at the fold where the hem is. And like these pants, they had a little cuff on them. I didn't remove the cuff or anything. I just placed it right at the where the hem is and stitched it, stitched it on there. And then I just did my little whip stitch all the way down. Took a couple of stitches here and there across onto inside the satin stitch. And so you can take a couple of stitches and then do a whip stitch around the satin stitch and then do a couple of stitches and do, so whatever pattern you decide to do, it's not going to show, it's whatever you're comfortable with. And the only thing I want to make sure you understand is that just stay with the angle of the stitches in the lace along the satin line, because if you try to jump across that angle that the stitches are laid in, you're going to see an ugly stitch. You know, people may not see it, but once you do the whole thing like that, then it might look a little bit sloppy. So just keep that in mind, and then the stitches will blend right in. And obviously I just use the same thread that I embroidered with. That's what I stitched it down with. And then what you do is you trim away on the other side. You trim away. At this particular one, I trimmed it so that I wouldn't have a cut across one of the open holes. But when I did the pink dress, I decided I wasn't going to worry about it, and it was nothing to worry about. I was just trying to keep the holes nice and clean without a cut. If you cut it and there's a cut edge showing right through these open windows right here, just go back and cut around that. So, you know, so it kind of blends and it doesn't look like, you know, it just neatens it up a little bit. And that's all I did, was I stitched along the satin edge. And then when you get to the top, follow the satin edge right in here. And then when you trim it, that's where it's been secured. And I could have trimmed inside here. I just didn't. But you can. But because it's gray and it's going to be on my leg, it's not going to be, you can't really see where the edges are. So, and I haven't decided yet if I don't mind this or not. The top doesn't really flop over, But if you really wanted to, you could go back and just tack these down, maybe these top 3, to keep them from separating from the fabric. But it's really not, I mean, it's not an issue. So you do that to both sides, and that's all there is to it.
Welcome, Hazel from Louisiana. Hope the hurricane isn't interrupting your day too much.
Everybody
and also
stay safe.
Norma from, where's Norma from? Alabama.
Well, stay safe, ladies. We know all about hurricanes around here. Our little town is still trying to recover. Here's the other tip I want you to know. These are my old handy dandy, not the sharpest scissors in the drawer, but they're still sharp. These are just my old Fiskars. I use these chunky scissors for trimming because if I was to use my little detail, hold on.
Hi, Cindy from Louisiana, and Shirley from Texas, and Joanne from... Oh, Joanne has a question.
Oh, yes.
How does this lace wash in the machine?
Very well. And I'll show you my jeans that have been washed a few times already. The only thing I would say is we've thrown them in the washer, but I put them in a laundry bag, which is one of those bags with a zipper. It's kind of like the size of a pillowcase because those are my jeans. But it washes up beautifully. So, and washed and dried beautifully. So, you know, it's lace. You don't want to treat it like it's, you know, heavy-duty towel or something. You still want to be take care of it, but it's not going to fall apart. So I would say just put it in a pillowcase if you don't have a laundry bag, and run it through the machine. And also depending on what your fabric is, you know, you might want to, like with my pink dress, I don't think I want to throw that. I don't want to just throw it in there and let the machine do whatever. Because the knit is probably going to start looking pretty ratty after a few washes. That's the only thing I don't like about knits. But I would still be careful with it. All the work that went into it, and just take care of it. But it can wash in the machine just fine.
Welcome, Karen from South Australia, and Carolyn from Maryland. Good to have you with us.
Welcome, ladies. So my tip on trimming is I would not use something like this with really sharp tips and extremely sharp blades, and because, man, that could really nip my lace without me even realizing it. So I use these because I'm not going to get in down to the stitching. It's not like I'm appliquing, you know, I'm not cutting it to applique something. I'm just trimming away the excess fabric. Some places I get pretty close to my stitches, but I have fray block that, Gary, can you hand me my tube of fray block in this drawer, please? That once you trim, this is like fray check, but I think this is less expensive than fray check. It's just another brand. And it's a liquid, so you want to be careful. You don't want to drip it all over your garment. So you just want to wet the edge down along the area where you cut, especially if you got really close to the stitches, and it'll keep your fabric from unraveling. So, and depending on the fabric you're using, and that's why I wanted to show you the knit dress, because that's kind of a slightly different case. But for denim, this will work great. You just want to make sure it goes right through the fabric. It actually soaks into the fabric, and let it dry, and then it's washable and everything. So I use these because the blades are thick. You know, I can't accidentally nick my lace. I could. I'd have to dig pretty hard, but it makes it more difficult to accidentally nick your blade. I mean your lace with the blades or the tips, and also it helps to avoid nicking your stitches too, because you just can't get very close even if you were trying. So that's what I use. And if I need to get in a little bit better, I'll just trim out the big places and then turn it over and trim it a little better after I get the big pieces of fabric out of there.
We'd like to welcome Gina from Italy and Pat from Washington. and Lori and Pat and Laura.
Wow.
Laura wants to know, can you see fray block once it's dried?
No, once it dries, it sort of disappears. It does feel a little bit stiff sometimes, but it disappears. So, although, I mean, really, I haven't tried it on every fabric under the sun. I know at times, I think it was Fray Check that I remember having an experience where it left darker spots on my fabric. So just be careful because, you know, I could say it disappears, but maybe that was just on these fabrics I have here. So just be cautious with it and apply it carefully so that you're not dripping it all over your garment. And it's not going to go everywhere, you know, it's not going to soak up your leg. You're just putting on a few drops at a time onto that edge, and that's as far as it's going to travel. Let it dry completely, and then you can, you know, do what you need to do. Okay, so that's that. Now here now here in the linen, it did darken the linen just a little bit. I don't know if you can see in the video. And it does stiffen it a little bit. So just be aware of that. I think this gets softer after you wash it. I haven't washed this yet. But it does get softer, I think, after you wash it. But this is just my table runner. I could have stitched this on the machine, but and I probably should have. You know what you can do? I just didn't want to have a big, ugly zigzag stitch all over the top of my lace. I just didn't want that. So I stitched it on by hand, and I left a bigger margin on here because I was trying to leave these holes covered so that it would kind of blend. It almost has a like a shading effect from the edge, and so I kind of like that look from the front. But you can trim it all the way to the satin edge, and because if you're using the fray block, it's not going to unravel. It'll be fine. So, and if you stitch it by machine, you can use invisible thread. They have, it's not like fishing line. I think it's a totally different properties, but it's kind of like that in the sense that it's, well, you can't see it. It's like a filament kind of thing. And so you can use, they have it like in a clear and in a smoke. So you could use that so that you don't have, you know, big stitches showing on the other side, or I don't know. You all kinds of possibilities. You could even stitch it on with filament in your hand sewing needle. And I thought of doing that. The only thing I don't like about that is that you can hardly see the thread when you're working with it. And I just wanted to get this done and get some pictures and show you. I was too excited, and this, to me, this looks fine to me. For me, it's like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, which is I had a finished project because I just got down to it and didn't think too hard about it. When I start thinking too many thoughts, and pretty soon my time is gone and I don't have a finished project. So I thought, this time I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to let my brain talk me into doing things that are so ridiculous that it takes me more time than it should have, and then I don't finish my project. So, you know, a finished project is a Christmas miracle for all of us. So I'm just proud that I finished a project. So that's how you do the table runner. This was pre-washed. Thank you, Gary. He pre-washed my linen for me. So it's pre-shrunken and everything, and I pressed it out, but this is a heavier linen, so I didn't want to starch it to death and make it slick. I just sprayed it a little bit just to get most of the fluffiness out of it, and pressed it down. And so it's got all these, slight creases, and it's part of the charm of having 100% linen. So that's the table runner. Oh, the other side is, I cut this to fit the little table that it was, that I took the pictures of it on. But it's, the finished size is I think it's 16 inches. Here, my thing is right here. Yeah, 16 inches wide, and I think I did it, I can't remember how long it is. Just make it to fit your table. There's an 8.5-inch drop over the edge of the table, so whatever you want to do will work, but that's how I did it. I just measured my table and added 8.5 inches for each drop, making sure that I had enough to turn under. So the finished drop is 8.5 inches. So you'll want to make it that much longer to be able to hem it. I gave it a 1 3/4 inch hem on each end, and I didn't want to do the turned under edges because again, that would have been another day working on this, and I really didn't have the time to do that. So I did the shortcut. I serged my edges, turned them under, pressed them, and top stitched them to hem them in matching thread. So there's my bird in the hand. Is worth 10 projects in my closet, which is the birds in the bush. Okay, think we all can relate to that. Let's see. So let me show you the original denim before I move on to the dress. So this is the original denim and lace. This one has been washed a few times. In my garment bag, it's just thrown in the machine on a regular cycle because I wanted to see if a regular cycle would be all right. But you can do delicate, you know. And this is just the one piece. You just stitch it on, and you stitch it out and then apply it to your leg. Now the one thing about this design is I don't always do things symmetrically. So for example, this lace, do you see? Let's see. Trying to explain to you. Okay, so this side is not a mirror image of this side. It's just, I continued to design it so it was just, so if you flip it over, so here it is, same direction, but if you flip it over, you can see it doesn't match. Excuse me. So it's not symmetrical. So you'll want to make sure on this, with this design, I actually gave you 2 files and they're in 2 different colors. That way, when you stitch one out, you don't have to guess which one you just stitched out. You can just move on to the other file. You don't have to try and remember to flip it and try to figure out which one is the flipped one and which one isn't. Because I realized that could cause confusion and disappointment. You know, you stitch them out and realize you stitched out the same one twice, you know. So I thought, okay, I'll just make it 2 separate files as if it was 2 different designs and make them each a different color so that you could tell the difference. All right. So that said, having said that, you'll want to make sure when you place your design on your pants that you're making it, placing it in the direction you would like for it to go. So if you want this top paisley part to maybe face backwards, then you'll need to, you know, place it on your leg accordingly. So this is the front of the pant, and this is the back of the pant. So when you put the other one on, you'll want to make sure you're actually doing the opposite there, or, you know, opposite of that one, and doing it the same way so that it's going facing the same direction, you know, on the corresponding leg. So that, and then I attach that just like the others. Now this one, I didn't have my fray block at the time, and I keep forgetting to put it on. Maybe I'll remember this time. And even so, see, the denim hasn't really unraveled very much. But I'll go ahead and secure that with fray block before I continue to do the wear and tear thing on this, so that it doesn't start falling apart on me. But the lace does get pretty soft, but it's sturdy, so it'll hold up. Okay, let me move on.
Welcome, Elaine and Hertha.
Hi, ladies. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing before I move on to the dress. In case you hadn't noticed, this tunic is a coordinating design, and these are made to coordinate with the tunic. So you could wear something like this with your matching jeans or your skirt or whatever. So, but this is something it's just one piece of fabric. And it's like an applique, and this was done on water-soluble stabilizer. So this is like the applique part. Yep. There. So the design is made so that it stitches out onto the water-soluble stabilizer. It stitches out a placement line, and you, I'm sorry, it doesn't stitch out yes it does. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think what I'm doing here. Okay, yes, you have to find a place to set your fabric. You find your shoulder, the directions will tell you all of this. Where your shoulders are going to be, you know, you determine where the shoulder is going to be on your tunic. And then there'll be placement lines on there so you can line up your shoulder and the center of your tunic. It stitches out an outline. You cut out the fabric out of the hole and then let it finish stitching the lace part and everything, and you're done with the neck. And then you just put it over your head and wear it like that. And you can leave it like that, or you can hold and I left this like this so that people could see how it was put together. But you could actually stitch up part of the way on the sides if you wanted to enclose the seams, make seams on the side. But you can do whatever you want. You could even do what they're doing now, which is these tunics that there's really no side. It's just a narrow piece of fabric, front and back. And then they tie it together right here. They're really cute and really long. So that's a thought. Another project idea.
Hi, Ruby. Hi, Janet.
All right, here's the dress that I did with the lace. And the lace is still a little bit stiff. I haven't thrown this in the wash yet. But as you can see, it hangs really nicely. This is kind of a circle. It's not a full circle, but it's kind of a bell-shaped skirt on this dress. And all I did on this was, because it's such a thin knit, and I really didn't know how it was going to be able to keep its shape once I trimmed it back like I did. So here's what I decided to do. I took my lace pieces and put them together like this so that I could get the outside shape. And I have several yards of this fusible tricot. You can get it at the fabric store. Joann's has fusible tricot, and I use this on the back of embroidery if it's on a shirt or something that's going to touch the skin. I just cut a patch out of it and iron it to the back of my embroidery. And it's a little different than the stuff that they use for baby, or I had some stuff, I think it's called soft cloud or something. That stuff just didn't work as well to me. It came off after washing. So this tends to be pretty permanent. So I decided to go ahead and put my lace together, and I don't know if you can see too well. Before I attached it or anything, I just had my pieces of lace as a pattern, and I laid it on 2 layers of tricot like this. And then I cut my tricot. I cut it kind of big. I was trying to be careful not to cut it off too short. So I cut my tricot kind of big. You probably don't need to go more than maybe a 1/2 inch bigger, maybe a little bit more than that. And what I did was, before I attached my lace, I'm going to show you on the back seam. We'll pretend it's a side seam. So before I attached my lace, I ironed this down to the hem. And when I was making the pattern, or when I was cutting it out, I made sure I knew where my center was, and so that I clipped it at the top, clipped it at the bottom, so I could be certain of where my center was according to the lace. And then I put that on the seam. And it's not going to be perfect at the bottom, at least on this one, because the hem is curved. So I just came down off the hem just a little bit. And what I should have done, I'll give you this tip, is don't iron it all the way down to the very edge of the hem, because then I had this tricot sticking out of the bottom that I had to kind of pry it off of my hem so that I could trim it and hide it to the inside of the hem like this, see? So you'll want to maybe iron just a little bit short of that, and then later you can iron that down right here to make sure your edge is covered, and then trim it off. See, I had a hard time peeling it off of my knit, especially because it's a knit, it's got a fuzzy surface. So I had to pry it off of there and try and trim it because I didn't want any white sticking out of the bottom. So anyway, so once that's down, you stitch your lace onto the right side of your dress. You stitch your lace down, and you're actually stitching through the tricot and everything. So the tricot functions as a stabilizer, and because it's a knit, and I made sure the tricot does have a stretch. I made sure the stretch was going with the same direction as the stretch of the dress. I didn't want it to be fighting the stretch of the dress. I wanted it to flow with the dress. So, like I said, I was making this up as I went, but you can just kind of use your common sense on some of that. And your project may be totally different from this one, but this will at least give you an idea of what you can do. And see, the margin is pretty big, so I probably could have gone quite a bit smaller. But it does lend support, it doesn't add bulk, and it helps it to hang properly, I think, without the lace pulling or tugging or whatever. So I'll try and get a picture of me in this dress later on. And it's a dress, but I'm going to wear it with leggings and boots. I thought that would be cute. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of a thin knit, so I'll probably wear something under it. And but I'll definitely wear it with leggings and some boots, and I think that would be really cute. So any questions on any of that? And again, this I'll throw in my garment bag for washing, so that it doesn't get all mangled. It won't fall apart, but I don't want it to get mangled and tossed around and beat up by the other clothes in the machine. So that would be the main reason to do that. I think that was about it. Oh, I did, yeah, let me tell you this part. I did use fray check on this, but only those places where the tricot couldn't bond to the dress. So the hem, the tricot bonded to that first layer of the hem, but not the back layer. So I used some of the fray block on that, on the other side. So I just dabbed it so that it would soak the fibers right along that edge. And at the seam, where the tricot is bonded to one side, but the other part of the seam is not held together by the tricot. So I just put a little fray block on that. So that was it, just at the hem, and where there's more than one layer of fabric, that's where I put because the tricot will hold the rest of the knit together, simply because it has become part of the knit now, the way that it's ironed. So I hope this has helped a lot of you. There were lots and lots of questions on that. I did use matching thread in the bobbin. I used Vilene water-soluble stabilizer, which I get from All Stitch. Be sure and check All Stitch. They have excellent prices, and they are very nice people. Let's see. I used a regular 40 weight embroidery thread. I used a 7511 needle for everything. And I think that's it. So if nobody has any questions, and hopefully I've answered many of them, and hopefully I answered all the questions you may have been wondering about, I think that will do it for this video. These videos always get so long. I don't mean them to, but I enjoy visiting with you, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And the video will be uploaded to our YouTube channel when we're all done with it. So if you missed us, you can always catch it there, or if there's something you want to review or parts of it, you'll be able to watch it there later on. We should have it up there, if not by this evening, then by tomorrow. Just go to YouTube, look for Sonia Showalter, and then you'll find our channel and a whole series of our videos there. Thank you for coming, everyone, and I hope to see you soon.